March and April for the industry and for many industries was very scary, very concerning with the pandemic spreading. But starting in late April, really into March, our business began to recover, and it was really about off-premise business. Drive-through in particular, the majority of our restaurants have drive-throughs or drive-in restaurants, and so when people got tired of cooking at home and they started coming out for carry-out orders and drive-through orders, we were well positioned for that. And in March or in May and subsequently up through September, our sales have been quite strong after a fairly scary time.
All right, Kevin, we're looking at some of the stats behind your operations right now. 550 locations, 39 states. Have you noticed any kind of trend with regard to where that strength is coming from, either geographically, certain locations, or is it fairly broad-based across much of America?
Well, it's fairly broad-based, but the majority of our locations in smaller communities, vacation areas, more rural areas actually outperformed. I think a lot of staycations as we got into the summer. Our legacy restaurants, if you may, we still have about 40 restaurants that have drive-ins. And our operators converted all those drive-in stalls to pickup stalls for carry-out orders. So those stores performed the best. Unfortunately, we have about 8% of our locations that are non-traditional locations, malls, airports, locations that have not fared quite so well. And we're continuing to support and help those operators get through this.
One of the other things that's been interesting to see develop among fast food and fast casual chains is menus, whether or not they're getting more complex or more simple. I remember going to an A&W filling station when I was a small child, and I always got the root beer float. It was the one thing I really only got there. But are you expanding menu offerings, or are you trying to streamline in this case here because there are just maybe demand issues with some of the more complex items?
Yeah, we didn't have to limit any of our menu items through the pandemic. We are always looking to add some interest. So in order to add things, more importantly today, to take something away. So we're working on some things now, but through the pandemic thus far, we have not had to reduce menu items. Our supply chain, while it's been stressed, it has been able to keep up with the pace of business. So our menu to begin with, our core menu, is fairly streamlined to start with.
And Kevin, before we let you go, I know that many of us Americans and around the world are optimistic COVID is going to be a thing of the past, hopefully in the future. Are there trends in restaurants that you see continuing even after the threat of COVID goes away?
Well, certainly safety, certainly personal protection, masks, hand sanitizers, plexiglass. I think a lot of that stuff is definitely here to stay, and certainly off premise. And we continue to focus on our drive-through business and layer in onto that delivery and curbside pickup. But for now, it's carry-out business, and we expect that to continue for quite some time. But safety is the new buzzword in hospitality.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.